Hello everyone and welcome to the 343 Football Podcast. This is going to be our very first episode of the podcast, and the idea is to bring you across some football debates, look at the weekend's action and occasionally dabble into the light-hearted nature of football. Joining me today I've got Qudama.
Hello.
I've got Daud.
Hello.
And I've got Ali.
Hi.
I'm your host, Jaffa. Now, we'll kick things off because it was the Champions League in midweek, and I do want to go through some of the more notable results, starting with the very famous first victory in the Champions League for Turkish club Istanbul Başakşehir, as they beat Man United 2-1 at home. Now, this was a shock result, no matter what way you put it, especially when you consider that PSG and RB Leipzig, who are more notable opponents, fell to Man United. They went away to Turkey, everything, routine victory, possibly a draw at worst, but to be embarrassed 2-1, and the nature of the first goal sort of typified the result as well. So let's get into it, and I'll come to Daud on this one because you're the Man United fan, and I'd like to get your take on how that match went.
Well, we were on a high with winning against RB Leipzig, a very convincing win against PSG as well, and then losing the way we did to Istanbul. I'm not going to try pronouncing the second bit, but Başakşehir? Başakşehir.
I think you should, to be honest, because I think a lot of the Istanbul residents don't actually refer to the team as Istanbul.
Istanbul, I know.
The team with no fans.
Exactly.
Well, yeah. So it was a terrible match. As a United fan, watching Maguire being completely out of place for both goals. I don't know what Nemanja Matic was doing for the first goal, and he wasn't tracking Bar. I mean, really good finish from Bar. I mean, we were accustomed to that when he was at the Premier League. Very nice finish in the corner.
In a way, it was a kind of a mirror image of his famous goal against Liverpool, wasn't it, with the Gerrard slip?
Yeah.
The full halfway line, he's got it. He's had experience in that exact same situation and tucked it away very confidently.
Oh yeah, exactly. And but then I don't know if you guys seen that picture going around.
Yeah, I think we've all seen it.
With all the defenders at one at the winger. I think it was Kaveci on the side, and it's just so demoralising. Like, you would think as a Premier League team, we would have positioning our defenders right. It was like Maguire was like, oh shit, like they've got the ball. We need to all go and team up on them. 3 defenders pulled away, and Bar let it slip through his legs, and then obviously Visca came, and it was a beautiful finish, to be fair.
Are you talking about the second goal now?
Yeah, the second goal.
It's cracking finish.
Yeah. Oh, it was horrible. It was horrible to watch. And Tuanzebe, I think, prior to that, could have had a red card with taken down Bar.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, I think doing that type of challenge with the preset of having VAR now, you're always at risk of getting that red card and getting sent off. But I did think it wasn't. I mean, what did you guys think? Do you think it was a foul as per se? I know he put his arm on him, but I thought it was a bit soft.
I think it could have been a red. I don't think too many people are going to feel, too hard done by seeing it a yellow given for that. But it just shows that throughout the game, United's defence was just lacked, and they have for a while lacked any solidity, any shape. I don't know what Ollie's doing, but I think that's definitely on the manager. It's interesting you said at the start that you were on a high from the Champions League the previous week. I thought United fans would be a bit more pessimistic going into that game given the weekend's result, and now it's compounded even more by that embarrassing result in Istanbul.
Well, it's different playing against Arsenal than it is the Başakşehir.
Yeah, definitely.
I think anybody in the competition would feel themselves on the day if they played well. And being Man United, I thought they were just probably going to go there and just roll them over. Yet they came out and showed the grit, and they showed that we're not a team to be messed around with. And it kind of leaves the table a bit open now, isn't it? Because Leipzig won against PSG. PSG are in the dire straits here with Istanbul Başakşehir, and whereas Man United and RB Leipzig are probably a bit more comfortable coming to getting.
So let's touch on that actually, because the group now it does look very unfavourable for PSG. You've got the 2-1 defeat. You've got was it Kimpembe who got the red card at the end as well?
Oh my
Yeah.
God!
So
Did you
are
guys see
they?
that?
Would you actually back RB Leipzig to get the qualification spot over PSG, Ali?
Yeah, I'd agree with that. PSG just haven't looked the same team that they were last year. And I think Neymar and Mbappe are injured now, aren't they?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're
From what I
suffering
hear,
from a lot of
they are.
injuries.
They're both
like,
injured,
to be fair to
so
them.
obviously the intense season they had last year and coming into this season, and those injuries are piling up. And what happened with Manchester United, the upset with Istanbul Başakşehir, it's the upset of the season. It's wide open. You know, people said this is a group of death, and Leipzig will go through. There's no doubt about that. They've got a great team. They were unfortunate against Manchester United. You know, they had opportunities, just didn't take them. And against PSG, they played well. They kept a clean sheet against Istanbul. So overall, Leipzig will go forward, and I think maybe Istanbul might go through second.
You reckon there's a chance that both PSG and United miss out?
There's a possibility United can miss out. They're not looking like the Manchester United they were 10 years ago.
There's a possibility Man United could do the most amazing thing on the pitch, and then the next game they will lose against bloody,
Well, that's
like-
definitely been
like Brighton 3-0 or
the
something.
slogan of Ollie's tenure almost. The lack of
It just doesn't
consistency in
make
that
sense,
team.
yeah.
1 week you look like, you know what, these guys look like they can challenge for the title again, and people start like overhyping them, and then the next week everyone's thinking relegation. Really, Ollie could lead them to that. It's Jekyll and Hyde performances all over the pitch. And
Now, I'm glad you've touched on Ollie's situation there, Khudem, because we will be getting a little bit more in depth about that later on. We're going to do a little debate segment. You can actually catch snippets of our other debate segments on the YouTube channel, The Dressing Room. At the moment, we've got a couple of ones uploaded about the Ozil situation with Arsenal and the Dele Alli situation at Tottenham as well. So check those out if you want to have a look on top of listening to this full episode. Now, another result I do want to touch on with the Champions League, Real Madrid Inter Milan. Now, it's a very star-studded fixture when you think about those two teams. But those two teams are not really clear runaways of the group at the moment. You've got Inter Milan, who seem to be struggling. Borussia Mönchengladbach, all of a sudden, with that 6-0 victory, are looking like the hot team to go through. So, Khudem, I do want to discuss with you, in terms of Real Madrid and what you saw, was that an improvement on the first two games? And do you think they'll be okay now that they actually got the crucial victory in this one?
yeah, I think like first I mentioned, that group so far has definitely been my favourite in the Champions League. Like the games that have happened have all been like proper fun to watch. I think with Real Madrid in the Champions League, there's just something about them that you can never write them off. Like they had a slow start this season and they missed Ramos in the game against Shakhtar, but now that he's back, it shows that they can edge out those performances and they can like force their opposition into giving away goals, like we saw against Mönchengladbach, where it looked like they were about to lose their second game in a row. But again, in that competition, Real Madrid are just unmatched. So I think they've struggled, yeah, but they'll make it through the groups, not as comfortably as they'd have liked, and then when it gets to the knockouts, it's the knockouts.
Yeah.
Anything can happen,
Mm.
and I think we'll see them there. I think it'll take a massive upset not to.
I think
see
for
them
me,
progress.
it's no coincidence that losing Ronaldo, ever since then, they've not really been that impressive as a whole in the competition. Yes, they've progressed to the knockout stages, but now when you think about it, the impact of Benzema, Casemiro and Sergio Ramos are so crucial. If any of those three are suspended or having an off night, you can spell trouble for Real Madrid. And
That's
I think
the main spine, isn't it?
yeah, and so they've still got that quality, that season through games. I'm not even talking about their football quality, but the mentality of the players.
Yeah.
Like Sergio Ramos as a leader is unmatched in
Phenomenal.
my opinion. Like think about any other captain who's led his team through so many glory periods, and he seems to be at the centre point of that. And I really think he's up there. You can point to maybe in the past a lot of players for
Yeah,
more successful
definitely.
teams, but
Yeah, because
Sergio Ramos.
I know what you mean. Some people become a shadow of themselves of their former glory, and he still looks like he's well up there, fighting for his position and even fighting for the team in terms of getting some silverware. So yeah, I agree completely, and I think Inter Milan weren't playing that great in that match against Real Madrid, and I think Real Madrid winning 3-2 on a different day would have been a lot more even. I genuinely think Inter Milan were a bit. I don't know.
To be honest,
haphazard.
Watching the game, they had their chances though.
Yeah,
I think
They
that
did. Martinez did have his chances. He could have finished them off.
sometimes, honestly, a match comes down to did you take a chance. So every team has like a
Yeah.
a back and forth with
Yeah, I
attacks.
know what you mean.
Inter Milan had them. I think there was it Perisic who had that really close miss, or was it Martinez? I can't remember specifically.
Martinez.
who it was.
Martinez, yeah.
Yeah, and
He
then
had 2 shots at the end where
Yeah.
he could have flipped it the other way, and then Rodrigo with a beautiful finish when Vinicius. I don't know if he was actually trying to pick him out.
No, there was definitely a pass. Like
You think?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it was like what Bar did with against us, where he let it go, and then obviously and they scored.
No,
So,
but
yeah.
I do agree with Java. Like, we watched the game together, and it definitely did come down. Like, as simplistic as it is in football, it's just both teams created chances. Real Madrid took theirs, and then they took the 3 points.
Yeah.
I think Inter Milan just seem to lack what the great teams need to edge out those results.
Yeah, but you need to remember, this is a Jose Mourinho derby, first of all.
Yeah.
Inter Milan and Real Madrid. And Antonio Conte isn't really good in European football. He showed that at Juventus and Chelsea. So is he going to make a difference, helping Inter Milan get further in the Champions League? Or is he going to drop in the Europa League? Because Marco Rose and Borussia Mönchengladbach are looking amazing.
Yeah.
I disagree. I think the team that Inter Milan have at the moment are definitely a top flight team to an extent where they could be fighting for the Champions League every year.
You reckon?
It's that there's something just stopping them, that little edge that's making them. Yeah, Lukaku is that. Well, he is the hot prospect of all of Europe. So is Lautaro Martinez. Like, it's just something, and I don't know what to put my finger on, but there's always something that with Inter Milan, it just seems like it's just a little bit short to actually put them in the top 5 teams of the world.
It's not Inter Milan, it's Antonio Conte, like I said. Inter Milan 10 years ago won a treble, just remember that.
Yeah, but it was a completely different team.
Yeah.
I do like the fact that you're bringing up Conte there, Ali, because for me, I feel like Inter Milan are in a little bit of a low point at the moment, because under Conte they've largely been impressive.
Yeah.
Yes, they haven't won anything significant or done any damage yet, but they ran Juventus close last year.
Yeah.
They got to the Europa League final, and those are commendable things. But now at the moment as well, contrast that with the form of AC Milan, who seem to be looking good again. Who used to, I feel like over the last couple of years, has it not felt like Inter Milan have got the upper hand on AC Milan?
I definitely think they have. But with AC Milan, I think the biggest thing is the Ibrahimovic effect.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. I think, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong here, I think if you look at both Milan teams, there's a lot of young talent as well as, the quote-unquote old guard. And the difference between Milan and Inter at the minute is that the senior players in AC are pulling their weight. They're dragging them to that extra yard, whereas you look at Inter Milan, Barella, Martinez, quality players, but they're going to show that inconsistency that young players tend to have, and it's their senior players that need to step up more. And you look over, to AC Milan, and Ibrahimovic just won Serie A Player of the Month. He's the difference right now.
You need to remember Ibrahimovic, what he actually does is he puts all the pressure on his own shoulders. So all these young, exciting players like Tonali at AC Milan, they don't have any pressure, so they're playing with no pressure at all and with freedom. Whilst Inter Milan, they've brought in experienced players. They've brought back Perisic. Obviously, when they brought Lukaku, he's in his mid-20s, but he's experienced
Very
player.
experienced, yeah.
They brought in Godin a year ago, and now he's went. Conte needs us. That was something. He just seems very puzzled, and he just wants to win something similar to what Jose Mourinho does, but he's not getting out what he should with this Inter Milan team.
I agree.
Well, that's what the
100%.
same with Pep, isn't
Yeah.
it? They still keep tinkering, still getting there. But in terms of what you're saying with Ibrahimovic, I think it came out the other day where he said about the experienced players taking on the responsibility. It's not verbatim, by the way, but he's wanting the younger players just to play and have fun and actually experience everything.
Yeah.
It's the older players that need to take the responsibility of the losses and actually work towards gearing
I
up.
think with what Ali's mentioning there about pressure, I think that's the most kind of salient point, because the pressure at AC Milan at the moment, if you look at it, last season, they didn't want the manager that they had. Pioli, they weren't happy with him, and they wanted Rangnick.
Rangnick, that's
And then
correct.
so their form became, pretty decent. They were like, okay, he's doing well, and they kept him on. So it's the AC Milan story, and the way that they've structured their team is more like, okay, we've stumbled onto something good here, let's keep the good vibes going. Whereas Inter Milan are like, we need to get back to former glory, let's get Conte in, let's get Lukaku in, let's get Nangolan in, let's get Godin in. These are big names. And it hasn't quite worked to the effect where they've achieved success, even though they are looking marginally better than 2 or 3 years ago when they had a bit of an inspiring squad and uninspiring tactics and manager. So they've improved as a club, but I think they've added a certain pressure onto them that they may not necessarily be able to meet.
What I think is quite interesting is 4 or 5 years ago, where Inter Milan or AC Milan were, in terms of the financial power, they looked to spend a lot of money. They brought players in, and it just didn't work. I remember Balotelli being there, Honda being there. They tried bringing experienced players, not at the top class quality, but they tried doing that. What Inter Milan are trying to do right now. So what AC Milan are doing right now is great, and I hope they win Serie A because they're playing amazing football. All the pressure's off the young talent, and AC Milan were a super club 10, 15 years ago. It'd be nice to see him win trophies again.
But I do want to make one point about what you said about some like AC Milan seem to have stumbled upon something. I think that's a bit unfair to Maldini. I think he was the one that when they wanted to bring in Ragnar, he fought and said no, Pioli is the man for the job, and they brought him in as sporting director, to like kind of oversee that post Berlusconi era, and it seems to be paying off already.
Yeah, I mean, I do see what you're saying there. What I meant was, so they had the overall plan to bring in Rangnick in, and I'm sure there was going to be some sort of recruitment drive centered around him.
Yeah.
But now they're happy with because they started playing well. They're like, okay, we'll do an executive decision to keep him, but that wasn't the overall initial plan, which is not. It's good in a way because they're adjusting and they're doing something different. But I meant like Inter Milan kind of they had something going. They made all the moves to get Conte and all the moves to get those players, whereas AC Milan, even though they kind of want to do something big, realised that actually they might have a change of tact, and it seems to have worked out better for them because it doesn't seem to have been like didn't impose as much pressure on themselves as Inter Milan did.
Yeah, it's interesting. It seems to have like that kind of luck seems to happen quite a lot. I mean, it happened with Oli. He came in as interim, did well off the bounce, and then they just kept him on. And if I'm not mistaken, was it the same case with Flick at Bayern, where he came into
Hansi Flick? Yeah, he came as interim and it just told him till the end of the season, and obviously look what he's doing with Bayern, won a treble.
Yeah, it's interesting. I wonder what kind of leads to that, like that new manager bounce.
The difference is between Pioli and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is Pioli's a bit clued up when it comes to basic coaching. Don't think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is.
Ole Gunnar Solskjaer hasn't really had much top flight experience. I think it's the other thing as well, the Man United effect. He's obviously trying to emulate a rebuilding. He's trying to do a rebuilding job at the same time trying to perform on the pitch as well and get the results. I think it can't go both ways.
Yeah, we'll touch on that in full later on, but I do want to touch on one last Champions League game. We've got Atalanta at home to Liverpool, where they lost 5-0. Now, the interesting thing, and I think everyone earmarked this, the pundits, all the kind of fans, was Atalanta's style seems to be perfect for Liverpool's style in terms of not just winning a game, but absolutely blitzing a team. So, Ali, having watched that game, I'm sure as a Liverpool fan, can I ask you, were Atalanta sticking to their identity? Was that a mistake, or was it kind of, they couldn't even learn how to play defensively in Park the Bus if they wanted to, so they might as well see what their own approach would have got them in that game?
Yeah, I'd say that. Why change the style, which has always been working? Yeah, sometimes they've been taking heavy losses. Earlier this season, they took one, I think it was against Napoli.
Yeah, 4-0 it was.
They took a 4-0 hammering within 20 minutes it was as well. It was something similar where Diego Jota ran the game basically. Liverpool played amazing football. Atlanta did have chances. They just didn't take them. That's all it was. It could have been 5-2 or 5-3. It's just Liverpool were more clinical.
Now, sticking on the Liverpool theme, a debate point you've got over recent months is Firmino, outside of his general link play and his very intelligent forward play, not contributing enough goals? Should Jota actually be the starting striker from now on, based on his kind of impact so far?
I think it depends what team and what system Klopp needs to play. If he's going to play someone like Manchester City on the weekend, he should start Firmino.
Yeah, I 100% agree.
That's what I think. But if you're going to play someone such as Burnley or maybe it's Newcastle United, get Diego Jota in and get the goals in, then you could take him off, rest him, bring Firmino on, bring Shaqiri on, bring Origi on to take a bit of pressure off the other players.
I think Diego Jota is the direct competition for Firmino, Salah,
but
and Mana.
He isn't. He plays on the left wing. He's not really direct competition. He would get in that Portugal squad, but Cristiano Ronaldo plays in his position.
He does, but I mean, in terms of it being Shaqiri or Origi, I think Jota has propelled himself right up there to get his first.
He's 45 million quid. What do you expect? You're going to play him?
No, but I mean the way he's playing, and how the gegenpress for Klopp is, he's a non-stop workhorse.
This isn't credit.
This is what I'm trying to say.
This is credit to Pep Linders, I think that's what his name is. Klopp's assistant coach. He saw him at Porto and brought him in.
Well, he's been playing like similar to this at Wolves as well, though.
Yeah, but Pep knew him.
I think
Jota
was a lot more streaky for Wolves. He'd have some periods he'd get a hat-trick, do really well for a couple more games, and then go totally silent. And it could be a Wolves thing. So he's in a position to evolve his game at Liverpool.
Shall I tell you who else went through that as well? Another player called Sadio Mane.
Yeah.
Exactly the same as Southampton. He was very hot at the start. When it came to winter, he was a bit cold. At the end, he started scoring goals again.
But Jota is only 23, right? So that kind of inconsistency you kind of expect, especially from forwards. Like, scoring every week, contributing every week is something that we've come to expect. Because Messi and Ronaldo have warped our expectations. But if you look at it throughout the season, his output for Wolves was still very, very respectable.
For me, immortals, it's very respectable, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah. No, I agree.
No, I think to be honest, I think I'm a big believer in playing players based on form, and I think heading into the City game on the weekend, I'd definitely choose Jota.
Why are we starting Maguire then?
Nah, I don't think that. It depends how the game goes. Play Firmino. If you need goals, you bring Jota down. That's what he's been doing.
Can
He's
I
been
just
scoring
say
goals.
as
I feel
well?
like he has. Sorry, just to cut in there. I feel like the pace he has as well, and City's defensive frailties, their high line. I feel like he could be the perfect secret. That Klopp can
Super
unleash
sub.
on City.
He'll be the super sub then.
Maybe.
That's what I was
Tactics.
thinking.
You have to see the game and try and have the feels for it. And Firmino is a safe bet, isn't it? He's very intelligent the way he brings the ball forward and the way he starts a counter attack. So I think any manager that wants to see and feel how the match will go will probably put Firmino on.
Plus, before anyone says anything else, I want to make clear that Firmino does a lot more hard work. With Liverpool's defence right now, you might need that extra man in midfield. You could drop in, play a 4-4-2 diamond, have striker Mane up front. I mean, Salah Mane, striker Mane.
Well, ahead of our next podcast, it'll be interesting to discuss that game, Manchester City against Liverpool, and see what the impact of the striker was, who Klopp goes for, and how they do.
Yeah.
Now, moving away from the Champions League results, let's get into an interesting debate that's been coming through, in recent months, because at the moment you've got a treble-winning Bayern Munich, whose identity is, well, of course, they're an amazing football team, but when you want to kind of talk about what qualities shine most when you watch their team, it feels like it's their physical qualities, their running stats, the way that they are dominating players on the pitch, the quick counter-attacks, the direct football. And another treble-winning team in 2009 was Barcelona, where the discussion was more around about their technical passing, a lot more of it's just everything was more about the tactics. Tiki-taka was the phrase that came about. And it feels like two totally different teams that are having a similar level of success, you could say a generation later. So I do want to kind of just, the question of the debate is, what is more, a kind of an ingredient to success these days, to build a team that's based on their technical prowess or their physical prowess? And to kick us off, Khadema, what would be your take on that one?
I think there's definitely been a sort of power shift in terms of, the top level of football, where teams now are definitely opting for a more high press, high energy, cover all of the pitch kind of style of football. And if you look at the last two Champions League winners, Liverpool and Bayern Munich, typify that. But we've also seen it coming, maybe we're seeing the fruits of it now in terms of success, but we've also seen it coming for a while, with the death of the number 10 in football and the lack of, or more teams opting for a 4-3-3 over a 4-2-3-1, operating without a 10. So I think, it's probably the way to play now if you're looking to win trophies. But I don't think it's going to be as sustainable throughout a season. And these players now are playing so many games in a season, trying to, you saw it with Leeds in the Championship sometimes before they managed to get promoted, where Bielsa operated under a similar system, and eventually the players would always kind of tire out and they'd fail to gain promotion. And I think that'll probably happen at some point, where teams will figure out how to break the press more likely, and then expending all that energy will just end up costing them points.
Yeah, I think you're talking about a situation where there might be a tactical evolution down the line that kind of manages to nullify the physical superiority of a team, but I still haven't seen it yet, to be honest. All I'm seeing is, for example, the 8-2 defeat where Bayern Munich absolutely destroyed Barcelona. I just felt like I was watching a physical monster totally dominate like a schoolboy team. It wasn't just about Lewandowski having a better night than Messi or David Alaba having a better night than Longley. It was just this physical superiority. They were running at it. Did you? It's for me, and I'm thinking, is football going to be like that for a couple more years, or a few more years, or is there going to be a new trend that we don't even kind of know yet? Because when you talk about physical and technical qualities, they could coexist, can't they?
Yeah.
For example, you've got one of the players I would mention here is for Philippe Coutinho, where he signed playing amazingly for
What do you
Liverpool.
mean by the physical stats? Because there could be an argument that Burnley are very physical.
Yeah, no, I don't.
But
I
are
don't
they really
necessarily
physical
mean,
in terms of pace?
I
Though?
don't necessarily mean physical as in being rough against your opposition, but just like the athleticism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the athleticism, yeah, definitely. That is the major point. Like Thiago that went to Liverpool, he's probably one of the most athletic midfielders out there, and then his technical abilities are, rival to Xavi and Iniesta at their peak.
That's why I was going to mention Coutinho, because, for example, after he left Liverpool, falling out of favour of Barcelona, has a loan spell at Bayern Munich. All of a sudden, he bulks up, has a key role
Goes from
in the
that
Champions League winning
size
team.
small to medium.
Yeah, so without kind of getting too much into how he bulked up, it's just interesting to see that like his physical profile improved, and as a result, his kind of stature has improved. And now he's back at Barcelona, and although he's out injured at the moment, he had a very strong start in terms of slotting into Koeman's team.
He did, but do you not think it's because the rest of the players are a bit lackadaisical?
At Barcelona,
yeah.
So he came from like a winning mentality team.
Winning
and
mentality.
Like, okay,
He's
now
like-
instantly
Is
shines.
that, what, you guys train like this?
Maybe. But it's interesting. I think one aspect that's led to that is if you look at football now and you look at teams, the way they set up, creative players are just almost a nuisance for a manager. You look at someone who's like, James Rodriguez struggled for a bit, and players like him, even Messi at Barcelona now, questions started being asked, is he actually, a detriment to the team in a way? And that's, I think managers now and even fan bases expect the team to have a system and an identity, and they put that above all else. So when it comes to creative players, they just ask at like the expense of that, because they say, well, we can't afford to have him in our system. We can't afford to play the way we play with that player. So I think that's what's led to it as well. I'd say physical players are more adaptable than technical players.
Yeah.
I agree with that. If you look, not just
But
at Bayern Munich,
but doesn't technical ability come with the mental ability of going with the identity of what?
Maybe a cutting
Because
passes through
to
the
have some
defence, but in terms of
To have some creativity, you need a good mental intuition.
yeah, for sure. But I mean, in terms of tactical astuteness, like a player who's creative tends to be a little less disciplined. But
Sorry, Ali, you were going to build on Qudama's point there.
but what I was about to say is, if you look not just at Bayern Munich, at Liverpool, if you look at the hard-working team Jurgen Klopp's brought in, he only brings in players which fit a system.
exactly, yeah.
That's the point that I was going to bring in. And Bayern Munich are going with the same philosophy, and I think that's just throughout the whole Bundesliga. I don't think it's just Bayern Munich and Liverpool.
I mean, just on that technical, physical thing, at Liverpool again, you've got Shaqiri, who, okay, he's not a world beater,
He's
but
a
he's an
beast.
excellent player.
You seen
Yeah.
his
He's
an
calves to the
excellent
size of my thighs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's not like, he's not going to, like, do you know what I mean? Kind of, he still looks like a small, diminutive technical player, even though, yeah, you're right, his physical profile is
Did you
pretty
see
good.
the through ball pass he gave?
Yeah.
Did to
to
Jota,
Jota, yeah. It was amazing.
Yeah, it was.
But how
it was
come
good.
Shaqiri isn't a starter then? Why is he not the reliance player? Why is it the other guys, like the stronger
Not good
runners
enough.
of Salah, Mane? Is it just purely his football ability? Or do you think that his physical profile, again, even though he is a strong player, but it's just because he's small, he won't be able to do the sort of channel running that Mane and Salah do and bring more to the
I
team?
think Shaqiri's more of an explosive player. So when you want to bring him off the bench, he might help. Is he hard working as Mane and Salah? And people say, oh, Salah's lazy, but I've seen him track back in his own penalty box many times. So it just depends on what system is played. Like you say, if you want to bring him off the bench, he's going to be a better player than being a starter.
I think this is what Kodama says, is the creativity is actually detrimental to the identity. Whereas you can see Shaqiri, he's always trying a few different balls. He's trying those through balls. They don't come off all the time.
Yeah.
And that ruins the counter-attack and that ruins the way that probably Klopp wants to push the players up.
Exactly, yeah.
And you see at every club he's been to, it's a bit like he's looking at things in a different way compared to what the other players are. Maybe that in that aspect, like you said, a super sub, bringing someone on, he's explosive, he tries something new, and then the players have been playing with the Liverpool team for 60 minutes and thinking, oh, Shaqiri's on, now he's changing up a little bit.
This is why I think Jota should be on the bench on Saturday.
Oh yeah, I agree, he should be on the bench on Saturday. I think Firmino should play.
But to counter that, like, you were saying, like, I wonder how many more years am I going to see this type of football. I'm guessing you're alluding to the fact that maybe for you as a personal preference, that technical football is more, fun to watch. But if you look at the, like, best players now, under 21, under 23, they're not really all that physical, barring maybe Alphonso Davies, who's a physical beast. Like you look at the likes of Camavinga, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Mbappe, Joao Felix. They're all very
I think Mbappe's a physical monster.
Okay, Mbappe,
and
but he's very
Camavinga
technically
he's a physical monster as well.
But still, Ansu Fati, they're all like
I've never
very
been
technically, Awar, Leon,
Yeah.
Mason Mount as well. Like
Jadon Sancho, you could probably
Havertz as well. They're not the most physical players, but they're
Yeah.
very technical.
I mean, just on Mbappe, I've never been more scared of a situation I wasn't involved in than when he ran straight at Argentina's defence in the World Cup and drew that penalty.
Yeah.
I do not know who could have stopped that run. Maybe a train couldn't have stopped that run. It was just ridiculous. And for me, Mbappe came on like a freak of nature, like just dominating football from 17 and winning the World Cup at 18. I don't know if you can see
that's
that.
what the
Maybe
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are. They were mutants,
All right, maybe Alphonso Davies and Mbappe.
Donatello.
Then. But if you look at the rest of them, they're not all that physical.
I see what you mean, though. Definitely, there's some proper, lovely technical players.
Yeah,
Right now,
well,
that's the thing,
Xerxes
though.
coming on. For Bayern. He's bloody
If he's
massive,
going to talk
man.
about physical presence, look at Haaland. That's all I'm saying.
Well,
Yeah.
exactly.
I mean,
That's a
is Haaland
perfect
genetically
example.
engineered? Was he made in a lab? That's what people are
he
asking.
looks like it.
Definitely looks like it. But
The way he replies to interviewers' questions, it looks like he's a
Yeah, I
robotic.
mean, let's go on that tangent. Let's go on that tangent.
Processing what they're saying.
What is going on with Haaland? Like, so okay, he developed a reputation for kind of being very non-committal and casual in interviews. So now, interviewers are asking him, "Are you going to score tonight?" Alluding to the other type of scoring.
You know what they asked him? I think it was last week's Champions League game. I couldn't remember. They asked him, "Are you sleeping alone in bed tonight?"
I think
'Cause
that was
apparently-
really
that
this
was
week.
that was
this week.
yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw
think,
that. I was like, "What the heck?"
No, this is what Jaffa was telling about.
I read a comment that like tried to explain the like what the reporters like what was going through his mind, and like he asked it in a very bad way, but I think it was Haaland's own doing when he said,
when he got a
said
hat trick.
if he gets a hat trick, then the ball sleeps in he sleeps with the ball that night. So I think what the commentator was saying, you only managed to bag a brace, so that ball's not coming home with you, so you're going to be sleeping alone. But I think you're right, because he said score, so it sounded like he scored a date or whatever.
But does that
cringe to watch? Like,
is that the same iteration in Germany that it would be in British culture to score?
I mean, he asked
I
him in
don't know.
English, so I'm sure.
The guy's born in Leeds, man. He's not that stupid, man. He speaks English.
Yeah, he does.
No, but
It was
But
hilarious
I
though.
think it's also what's happening now is that like in this like meme culture that we live in, like the reporters obviously they're in that bubble, so they see that meme and they're like, I'm interviewing him tonight. How can I get myself viral?
Can I get the clip
myself
go
some
viral?
clicks?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
obviously
they
they
just
get
asking him the dumbest questions they can, and I would say I feel bad for him, but he's also like he adds flames to the fire. Like he answers them in the most. He knows what he's doing.
He
Like,
comes
he's
off
not
a bit
really-
arrogant though. You have to
Haaland
admit.
just needs to say something like important 3 points, and the conversation will kill itself.
Importante 3 puntos.
Yeah.
But he does come across a bit arrogant, doesn't he?
I don't know about arrogant. I just say confident.
No, he's very confident. He just wants to win games and score goals.
Also, arrogance is if you don't back it up. In my opinion, if you're scoring all those goals, you can be cocky. That's fine.
Yeah.
You're all right.
If you look at Ronaldo, he can be arrogant or cocky or whatever you want to call it, because he's always scoring goals. He comes back from coronavirus and scores a brace.
Yeah.
No,
Well,
it was
Neil
pretty-
Maupay had a bit of a stint of
Yeah.
that, didn't he, as well,
Exactly.
when he scored a brace and then
Still
and he's
cringy
been
when he referred to himself in the third person. Cristiano's back. It's like, yeah, all right, we know.
Well,
Mate.
that's what Zlatan does as well. He's like,
Oh, he's a brand,
Zlatan
isn't he?
is
That's
back.
why.
Fair enough. But still, Zlatan does
It
it
could have been
differently.
CR7's
Now,
back.
we alluded to this one earlier, but our last debate point is going to be Ole Gunnar's success future as Man United manager. Now, we can get into a new one's debate with this one, but I want to ask you a very simple question. Are you Ole in or are you Ole out, Dowd?
Ole in.
Ole in.
I'm Ollie in as well.
Yeah,
I'm Ollie
actually
in,
Ollie
yeah.
As
in.
a Liverpool fan,
Ollie
I'm
in
Ollie in.
forever.
I'm Ole in. I'm in Woodward out, man.
I would give him Pardew's 8-year contract and double that.
I'm definitely Ollie in, but not for the reasons. I genuinely
Yeah.
think I don't think he's what is like firing him is not the solution. I think the problem with Man United, like, it goes much higher than the manager. Yeah, he should be doing more with that squad, and
You should be doing more. You
There
should
is
be teaching them
definitely-
basic defending.
yeah, he should be doing
basic
more.
defending.
I
Not
don't think-
3 people on 1.
I think even if you sack him though, those same problems are going to
Well,
remain.
that's the thing for
I
me.
think if you look at the teams, one thing you hear about Man United is like, do they need a sporting director? And I think that is definitely true. Like Woodward should not be anywhere near the transfers, man. Like, I don't know if he's like playing FM and he's doing well and he thinks he can do it in real life, but he certainly
But he's
can't.
not doing any of the FM signings. That's what I'm saying. Is he though?
Cavani on a free. I mean, that's the most FM.
That
signing
seems like
you
an
can do.
FM signing.
That's it. No, man. That's just a. I don't know. It's just a like a scavenger find out of like anything on the market. Oh, he's the best thing. Let's get him, and we don't have to put a lump sum down for him. It's not, man. We should have bought who we needed for the squad. That's the first thing.
That's exactly what my point
And
is.
we're not. We're just picking out bargains.
But that's my point.
Do you know what I mean?
You should get look at.
I couldn't disagree more. I
With,
could not disagree more. Man
With-
United have spent so much money, not just on the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, but for Mourinho,
Okay.
for Van Gaal. Like spending money is not the problem. Big money signings is not the problem.
But the wrong big money signings.
Yeah,
That's
the wrong
the
big
thing.
money
But now,
signings.
when you say wrong big money signings, I can't accept that as an argument. Because
Well,
when you
okay.
talk about wrong big money signings, Di Maria is an amazing player. Paul Pogba is an amazing
but-
player. They're playing crap for Man United, but they're still good footballers. Watch, I tell you now, every time you watch Pogba in a France shirt, he looks incredible again. Is that a coincidence? No, it's not. Di Maria went to PSG, looks incredible again. Is that a coincidence? No, it's not. I don't think that you guys are making the big wrong money signings. I just think that the football club is, not just from management point of view, but from a directorial point of view, a hierarchy. The project isn't good. The culture isn't good. And it's eroding into the way that they play on the pitch and the results that they achieve as a team.
But I think that's what Dowd was trying to say, is that, like, yeah, it's not the actual value of the transfer, it's who we're signing. And you could say, yeah, Pogba and Di Maria probably they're good enough to have worked at Man United. But I think a sporting director is definitely what they need, and that's why I think Ollie should be
Kadama,
in.
what I think is, Ollie stays a Liverpool fan, but as a football fan, he should be gone. He should be nowhere near Manchester United. You know, you got Cardiff relegated, you know, and he was given a chance in the Championship of Cardiff. You couldn't do any good with him. On top of that, if you bring in a decent coach like Poch, Allegri, at least they could stable the bus or the car, whatever they want to use it. The engine's running, it's still running, it's getting you to the end of the
Anything
race.
with a wheel on.
No, I agree. Look, there's definitely merit.
There's
definitely
issues at the
merit to
top.
the argument that he should be gone. But like the two reasons I think he should actually stay is, one, I think sporting director like needs to come in like straight away, and then you replace the manager. Because to be honest, I don't think the available options that are out there now in Poch and Allegri would actually do that much of a better job, to be honest with you.
Oh, I think they'll do better than Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Definitely.
I think
They'll do better in Champions League football. They'll definitely do better in the Premier League with Poch or Allegri.
They'll do better.
They'll be organisation
They'll
first
do
of
better,
all.
but I don't think
so
they'll
they'll
do
stop
enough.
conceding goals.
I don't think they'll do enough like to what Man United aspire to. I mean,
Yeah, that Manchester
Pochettino-
United's gone, man. Those are dinosaur times, man. No one's talking about 2000, 1999, the
still-
I
drought
agree with
times.
that, yeah, for sure. Like
No, for
their
sure.
standing as a club now, and I think honestly, right, when you talk about Solskjaer getting third place finish, that's good enough to me. For a club like what they are, the squad that they got, that is definitely.
This
good
is what
enough.
Liverpool were going through 20 years ago. You know,
Right.
Liverpool thought they were a big club there. Just keep on talking about history.
They're not as-
Now
and-
Manchester
yeah.
United are going through this right
Yeah,
now.
but they did the right things and they built upon it. Whereas, as every Man United fan will
it
say,
took 30 years to rebuild
is-
on it, if that's the case.
but
Well-
when did it start changing? Is when they brought in, like, you know, Michael Edwards, and they started like
Well,
the
Fenway
higher
Sports.
up, and it like trickled down. I don't think they should start on the dugout. I think they should start in the boardroom and then see the effects.
No,
down
but you
below.
need to remember, FSG bought the club in 2011. So before that, they were in administration.
and they did
So,
good
so
decisions.
it was change of ownership because it was forced upon. I don't think the Glazers would actually sell Manchester United or be forced to do it because they don't give us stuff. They see a cash cow.
No, they
and,
don't.
And they milk that cow so much.
Yeah.
So my take on it is that Ollie in, Ollie out, right? If you're going to bring in Pochettino tomorrow or Allegri, you might as well sack him because they're better. I think that's just the simple fact of it. They've got more proven records and they've done it on a more consistent
There's
basis.
reports
But
that Poch
just
coming out,
to
isn't
finish
there?
off that, my point there, I don't think Ollie should be sacked based on his current record because, first of all, by the way, it's overblown. They've just lost a couple of games in the league. Yeah, in its early days, you could put a couple of wins together and you're looking all right. You're looking pretty at the top half of the table, Champions League qualification. That's the first point. The second point is that his overall achievements for Man United aren't even that bad as well. FA Cup final, they didn't win that. Third place finish, that's not bad. Like, and he also had quite a nice winning run at the very beginning when he took over. You know, when the whole Ollie at the wheel
17 games.
vibe was at its best,
Yeah.
and Ferdinand was rubbing his hands, and the best clip of all time was created. You know, so for me, it's too extreme to say
Not
Ollie
that,
out
it's
right
the
now.
way that we
Yes, it's
play.
too early in the
It's
season.
the
That's
way
what
that
I'm
we play. And I know, Jeff, you hate the way that Steve Bruce plays, but yeah, he's doing pretty decently. And you know, people bring up the stats that he's doing better than Benitez did in the season before. And it's the way that Man United are playing and the way that they're defending, and you're just thinking.
Okay, can I ask you a
Well,
question?
you're putting 5 past Leipzig, and that's not good
Can I
enough.
ask you?
But this
can I
is
ask
the
you a
thing,
question, though?
Fernandez. He comes out and says the players aren't playing hard enough. There's definitely some kind of ego / not enough discipline in the Man United dressing room.
When you're not happy with the way they're playing, are you talking about the style of the football or the effectiveness of the football or the work rate of the team?
I would say work rate of quite a lot of members of the team.
So you're saying that under Ollie, he's not getting the most out of the players work rate wise?
I think everybody can agree on this table that he's not
doing
he's
something
not.
in training. Like he's not like, you know, after that Istanbul game, Başakşehir game, I doubt Ollie's the guy that went into the changing rooms, you know, like to give them the hair dry treatment that, like, you know.
Oh no, he's not. Have you seen how he came out with the 6-2
Tottenham?
Tottenham?
Looking timid, like a, you know,
Yeah.
like a school kid waiting for
6-1.
his dad to pick him up.
6-1, sorry.
Don't make it sound
it's-
good for yourself. Yeah.
I was trying that. I would hope. Yeah, but did you see the way he came out? I would be absolutely livid. I would be livid that my team lost 6-1 against the arch rivals, and the way that we played as well. And it was just such easy goals. It was like people were turned off. They weren't switched on. That's why I'm just so peed off with certain members like Maguire. Just put him on a sabbatical for 6 months. He's not doing well. We probably will do better without him. Do you know what I mean? Twanzebe Fosu-Mensah, give him a chance.
Now just remember this, like, Ole Gunnar is just a cheerleader. He's a BTEC PE coach, really. Let's be
A
honest.
BTEC PE coach?
Yeah.
How underqualified do you have to be BTEC?
He's pretty
That's something you don't
underqualified,
even
let's
need
be
to-
honest.
No, I think I agree with Jaffa on this one. I think it's too extreme to say Ollie out at the minute.
But Manchester United fans have been saying this from after the PSG game.
You know what it is?
Let's
I
be
don't
honest.
think any Manchester United fan is got any problems with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as himself. It's just the way that I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer actually expresses himself in post-match interviews, and when results come through, is that when we're really peed off. And I think it's purely he probably knows himself that he should be more angry, but because of the backing of the board or other problems going on with how to deal with players, I didn't realise how much players dealt with the chairman. So I definitely think that's probably part of the process as well. So I think all those things, we're just saying Ollie out is probably because we need someone to get the results, to get us to, you know, so we're not shamed as Man United being in the bottom half of the club.
United,
Bottom half of the league.
You know, like, they want to win the league again, ultimately. And touch wood, it never happens again. But
Touch
if
wood,
that's-
touch wood it happens.
But if that is to ever happen,
I didn't even
don't
trust
think
the table.
you bring Pocket, you bring Allegri in, like you bring Pochettino, or you bring Allegri in, it's not happening. And until you have someone overseeing the transfers other than Woodward. I mean, you look at like their two rivals, City and Liverpool, both operate with a director of football. Like in this day and age, and that the amount of money that teams have to spend in the market, you
And the
need someone
signings that
qualified
they've
to overlook
made.
it.
Yeah, I know.
So,
But that's the don't again. I'm going to disagree again. You're focusing too much on individual players and signings. Man United have signed just as good a players as Liverpool have in
I
recent
disagree.
years.
I disagree.
I'll tell you
have
something now.
Falcao, you nuts.
I'll tell you something now. If Man United signed Sadio Mane when Liverpool did, Mane would be at Reading in the Championship right now. I'm telling you, there's something about that club that players just don't seem to do well. They don't
it's a
thrive.
curse.
in
Well, let me
prospect.
ask you the question then. I know you answered it before, but like maybe
So you're saying
give me a
Rashford?
solution, right?
Mhm.
Sorry,
Sorry.
to cut
It's an
you off.
exaggeration, by the way.
But if it's not the, I'm not saying it's the lack of transfers. I'm saying it's the personnel they bring in. It's not a balanced squad. Their defense to attack like strength is shocking, to be honest. That back line, I wouldn't even have any of them, bar maybe
I'd have
Aaron
Wan-Bissaka,
Bissaka
yeah.
at Newcastle. So what is this? Like, what is the problem then?
You wouldn't even have Slabhead.
I definitely wouldn't have Slabhead, man.
Slabber, you
Absolutely
could
not.
turn him around, man.
Serious, War Jamal any day.
Yeah, he is. He's a lot better. But Wan-Bissaka is, he's
Wan
only.
Bissaka's alright, except going forward, he's about as useful as a wet, you know.
Yeah, I mean that's the only thing that's probably putting him not as the same level as Alexander-Arnold Trent.
Yeah, mate, he's great. He's great defending, but when it comes to going forward and putting crosses in, he's not that good.
Nah, he's not.
Let's be honest. You got better players to do that. You got Reece James there. You got Kieran Trippier there. Not just Trent Alexander-Arnold. Plus you got Kyle Walker. Just remember that.
Yeah.
It seems
Yeah,
like
we-
England have got a blessing of right backs
We
at the
don't-
moment, haven't they?
Yeah.
Tariq
Oh,
Lamptey, you haven't even mentioned.
Have you not seen Gareth Southgate putting like 6 fullbacks in his squad?
Yeah.
You're in the right back position.
If England's best players are fullbacks, might as well get them in. I think that's the Southgate mantra.
Yeah, but then don't you? Yeah. And then
No,
Conte gets the
yeah.
best out of your wing backs and your right backs.
But Jeff, like, I know it goes against every fibre in your being to see United succeed, but if you were like given the ability to make a decision, like what do you reckon? How would you fix them?
How do I fix them?
Well, you're saying it's not the personnel they're bringing in. I was interested to think like, what is? Is
I
it just
mentioned
the
it
manager?
before. I said it's a hierarchy thing because I think
But what does that mean if it's not a sporting director?
That doesn't change. If
No,
you
no,
look
I'm
at
with you on. I'm
Arsenal
with you on
and
the sporting director.
Sam
But we're
Kroenke.
talking about
But
hierarchy
what's
thing.
the
You're
sport-
right. The sporting director is definitely the way to go. Because the guy who's making the football decisions, they've got the money. They spend so much money.
I'm not
There's
saying
no
it's the
cap.
money.
There's no
I'm
issue
saying
with
it's how they
capital.
spend it. But you said
Yeah.
They said they've brought in plenty of good players. So like,
Sporting director is definitely one of them, and I do actually think that Ollie's all right. But he definitely, I think what you said before, Ali, about Allegri and Pochettino and whatever name that's better than Ollie may become available in the future, he's definitely replaceable. I just think that his current record right now in his current circumstances isn't worthy of sacking, but it could happen in the future if he gets.
But
worse.
which big teams has he played against?
Who would you sign then? Do you not sign anybody like you said? But then what?
Your
okay.
team is good enough, man.
What?
it's good enough for
It's
this.
Okay,
It's
so
definitely
we,
not
so we
good
just
enough.
basically
It's not
need
enough
a
to
new
win the
defending
league. It's
coach.
good enough for
Basically,
top four.
that's what we need. A new defending coach. Because we can't even defend.
Well, you don't need Harry
Oh,
Maguire
you know,
as
do you
captain
remember-
first of all.
It's the same squad that went on like a 20-game unbeaten run, and everyone was praising him to the heavens, man. This is what I'm
But they
talking
did have
about.
Arsenal.
You
they
guys are
did have
talking about players
Arsenal.
and individuals. It's not a players thing. Man United have a good
I
player.
don't think that. They did have Arsenal. Arsenal like drew like 15 of their 20 games or something. Or they talked about 49 undefeated again. Then they lose to Southampton or something like 3
Yeah,
years ago.
some winning runs aren't as impressive as they may seem. I do agree with you on that, but the praise they were getting, man, like it was unbelievable. The same thing as his very first winning run with the Ollie at the wheel hype.
Yeah.
That club just operates on extremes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah,
only-
we do.
yeah.
Like, yeah, it's the highs are really high, the lows are pretty low at the moment.
Imagine your lows being so low. You reach an FA Cup final, and wow, like in the Champions League. Man, I feel for you. I feel
Yeah.
for you.
So we'll wrap that one up there, lads. Thanks a lot for the two debates and the Champions League discussion. Now, I do want you to check out our socials. You've got Twitter and Instagram at The Dressing Room 9, and the YouTube channel is just The Dressing Room. And if you want to have a look at the written work, you've got the dressingroom.football website, where we've got plenty of articles to check out. And yeah, we should be back next week, hopefully to discuss a little bit more football. It is going to be the international break, so it might have a little bit of a difference to it. And we'll see you guys next time.
Yeah, thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you.